to be about something.
Right.
So I made it a real moment.
Yeah.
About kind of that moment when you realize you're losing your friend
friends.
to a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and you just started, and I remember doing that vividly, and I remember Dan watching it and going, that's not what I thought that scene was going to be, but I love it.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, to their credit, because there are writers who will never tolerate that. There are writers who's like, you know, if you don't give Aaron Sorkin what Aaron Sorkin meant the scene to be, it's not going to get on the air. You're going to shoot it again until he gets what he wants it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Aron, to their credit, went, that's actually better than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And you know.
And could look at things in that way. Yeah. I mean, I remember I just felt like it was screaming for it, and I kind of did it as a gag, or I can't remember. It was a scene in the diner, and I talked directly into the camera, which you never do. And I just turned right in the camera and said something about like Dolly Levi or something. It was some.
Hello, Dolly.
It was some Hello Dolly reference. And I just kind of, if she starts singing, I don't know, I said something like, if she starts singing Hello Dolly, I'm out, or something. But it's something that just felt like this direct address to the audience, which we never did in the show. And they used it. I mean,
I still hate that.
I thank you. but they were open to whatever creative ideas.
Well, it was interesting. They also really trusted the directors, which is also not very common in television. They really let the directors. Well, but I will tell you, now that I'm EPing, I totally understand that. They really trusted the directors to come in and put their stamp on the show and let it be brave and let it be interesting and let it be a little different than last week's was. They didn't need for every episode to feel the same.
Right.
And that's a big creative. That's very brave.
Risky.
It's very brave. Yeah. So
to let each episode be its own little independent movie.
Yeah.
You know, with a different feel to it. And sometimes, you know, back when we used to read the message boards and things, I know, you know, when certain directors, like when
there were message boards.
When there were message boards, you know, and fans would get furious sometimes that they're, you know, that Bruce McDonald especially, who I loved working with, but you know, he would do a whole scene just in close-up of the eyes, but they're beautiful scenes, and it gives you some amazing information, but people are like, we want to see their whole face, you know, because they weren't used to seeing TV back then in that way. Now I think TV's gotten a lot more cinematic, but back then it was a very brave thing for Dan and Ron to let it be cinematic.
I do. I mean, I don't think the show gets enough credit for its place in cable TV history.
I agree.
I know we're a part of it, so whatever. It's impolitic for me to say it, but the truth is, we were doing the kind of stuff that has gone on to become sort of de rigueur for quality television. Mm-hmm. You know, at the very beginning of that, we were one of the first shows to go on DVD.
We were breaking game.
We were breaking game.
Honestly, I think you raised a good point, because I think it kind of gets classified as it broke ground for gay TV, right? But I don't think it gets the credit it deserves with some of the technical stuff that it did. You know, right? Mm-hmm. Gay, straight, sci-fi, whatever genre. I think
a lot of it thanks to an Aussie, Russell Mulcahy.
And I actually asked Gail and Randy what it was like working with Russell, so I liked it.
Russell was great. Russell was really fun. He was hilarious. Russell was really interested. Russell loves the camera and what a camera can do, and that's why the show was so, from the get-go, was so muscular, you know what I mean? It's just the camera was so a part of the show, you know what I mean? It just did things you'd literally never seen before. You were like, I didn't even know you could do that with a camera. Like, it was pretty crazy. But here's my favorite Russell story. We were shooting, he came back, he did the pilot, and then he did like episode 8, I think, of season 1. I can't believe I remember that, but he was doing a bathhouse scene. And one of the extras, and all the extras were always were covered in baby oil. They were always so that their bodies would kind of catch the light in the background. And he was doing a scene, and he needed the extra's body shifted in position. And he kept, and in Canada, the director is not allowed to talk to background actors. You have to talk to your AD, and your AD has to talk to them, or else they get upgraded and they cost a lot of money. So he keeps telling his AD, all right, need to shift his pin. The guy's oiled up, remember? His thumb slips right inside him. And the guy goes, oh. It may be indiscreet to tell you that they went home together.
Oddly enough,
That is a true story.
when I went to my doctor's for my yearly physical just the next day,
The same. But Russell was terrific. We had a lot of fun with him. There was some hot, do you remember shooting in Babylon that first? It was July in Toronto. It was 1 billion degrees outside, and it was like it was like the temperature of the sun inside. And and I don't know if you remember, like there's a bunch of shots up on scaffolding, kind of, and it was like 700 more degrees up there. I don't think I've ever been so hot in my life.
No, and the action going on downstairs and.
Oh God, and they would just.
I mean, because the first season of the show, when we were shooting on actual locations of actual clubs and things like that, and the background artists we were getting were people who had just attended that club the night before, generally. So the yelling cut at the end of a scene didn't really matter. So
They were just having a good time. It's a way to keep partying and make an extra $100.
Absolutely. I mean, look, for me coming into this ain't Kansas anymore, kind of. I mean, it was all amazing. I mean, again, you didn't need to act much. The world was so around you there that first year that, it was education.
Carrie Mulligan and Scott Hall.
We would just stare at each other the whole time.
What else do you want to know? Because clearly we'll tell you anything.
I have one.
Yeah.
What are your favorite cereals? Profound, right?
No, like breakfast cereals?
What other kind of cereal is there?
Well, I don't know. A cereal is
people call-
television.
Cereals?
Well, but they call them cereals.
They call them
Oh, no.
Breakfast
I'm not that
cereal.
educated.
I don't eat cereal anymore.
Okay, what about when you did?
Captain Crunch.
Oh,
With crunch berries, though.
Yum.
No,
Only way to go.
There's no crunch
Only way
berries.
to
That's
go.
bullshit. Yeah.
It's pointless.
I ate a whole box of Boo Berry once in one sitting, and my poo was green.
You should have booked General Mills.
Yeah, I really should have. I did.
You're $3 back on that box.
I might have, but I used to love Boo Berry.
Sorry, I can see the tweets now.
Green poo. Hashtag green poo.
I hate the word poo.
Well, it's like I've done the science experiment
the word
for
poo.
you, so you don't need to do it yourself.
I don't like that word poo because it doesn't have an end. It feels like you're just shitting and it's never gonna
Exactly.
stop.
that box of Boo Berry, that's what it was
At
like.
least poo stops.
Have you really spent time thinking about
Yes!
this?
I'm very interested in words.
How was it going?
I'm a writer, you know. Hashtag the fun.
Number 2 cable show on all of TV.
No, stop saying that.
Say.
Yes, exactly, for that day. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Other now that we talked about food. Yes, please. Thank you.
Please, exactly.
Classical theater or working with the young playwrights, which do you like better?
Oh my God. Well, the young playwrights are still alive. That's a good thing. That can be a good thing. Boy, it's really different. I mean, there's such different challenges. I mean, in some ways, I'd say the young playwrights just because hopefully they will hire me in the future when they write something, and the dead ones really can't do much for me at this stage of the game.
Selfish much?
Being honest. Very, I mean, boy, it's so different. But truly, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with the young playwrights. There's something, because it's something new and fresh, to do a piece of classical theater that so many other people have done, there's just a different set of challenges in terms of trying to make it your own. To do something that's so new and raw, and especially because they're kids and this is all kind of new to them, what's coming out in it is so raw that I really like doing that. I mean, it's also quicker. It's only 2 weeks. But
How many plays do you read and how do you narrow it down? I mean, did you have like hundreds of entries?
yes, they had something this year like 250 something. They go through the first round. They have groups of 3 people who each read about 40 something scripts, and then everybody gets together, and in those groups you narrow it down so that you have 40 semi-finalists, and then all the readers have to then read all 40 plays, and we sit around from 10 in the morning till about 10 at night one day, and literally scream and holler at each other and fight and get it down to 12. So 12 out of about 250 plays, and some of them are crap.
I'm gonna submit next year.
You should. You're a young playwright. But it's a really interesting process, and this is with a local theater called the Blank Theater, and this is their 21st year of doing it. And it's a really remarkable program, and one of their playwrights was nominated for a Pulitzer last year. You make the magic. That's on video.
So last question.
Yes. Oh, last question.
All right, we get a good one. Yes.
I have one for you. With your new show, I did watch it the other day. It was great.
Thank you.
What was your influence with that? With the how did you get into writing about the foster issue? What was? Because I'm an adopted kid myself, so I think every adopted kid has that horrible fear, oh God, what if that was me?
Yeah, of course. My writing partner and I wanted to do a family drama. There were so few family dramas on TV right now, and we sort of often are looking at the landscape and going, what is it that I want to watch that's not on TV, right? So we wanted to do a family drama. We talked about doing Two Gay Dads, maybe that I would maybe even act in, and then we were like, there's the Normal, and there's Glee, and there's just a lot of that going on, so let's look at something that hasn't been done. So we decided we wanted to do a show about two moms. And when you start thinking about same-sex families, you realize it is an act of creation, right? Nobody just gets pregnant by accident. It doesn't just happen. It's a choice, and it's something that's constructed, and usually very thoughtfully and very carefully. So we thought about all the kind of ways that would happen, and of course fostering and adoption is one of the primary ones. Simultaneous with these conversations, I'm on the board of the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, which is the largest gay and lesbian organization in the world. And one of the many things that the center does, a few years ago they got a $13 million grant from the Obama administration to develop the first ever of its kind protocol for LGBT kids in foster care. Because they're a grossly underserved population. They're put in homes with people who don't have the skills or even basic understanding to treat them well. And so I'm so moved by that. And being a human being is hard enough. Being a kid is basically terrible. Being a kid without a family, without anything, without any touchstone, it breaks me open. It just breaks me open. How is that possible in this world? How are we failing 400,000 kids in the United States? There are 400,000 kids in foster care in the United States. How are we failing them? And that to me was such a beautiful way into a story. I cried every day we were writing that. I mean, I know that's not a big surprise to any of you, but it is. I still am so moved by those stories. I hope you guys will tune in. I'm really proud of the show.
I watched the rest of it.
Thanks.
And that, as an adult adoptee myself, and that's kind of my issue and my thing, and what I do my charitable work around. I was so immensely proud, and it's very genuine, my enthusiasm for the show and having watched it, because the sensitivity and the heart that it was all handled with is remarkable, and it does make a difference. It's all, much as Queer as Folk opened up a world to people who kind of didn't know about it and got rid of some ignorance. I think the show is going to do a lot towards that and make the lives of thousands, hundreds and thousands of kids so much better, and it's important beyond it just being damn entertaining. It's a really important tale to get out there, so I'm very proud of people.
I have to be honest, I caught the commercial and then I saw you mention something about it on Facebook. I was like, oh, because I didn't know that you were involved with it, and I was like, oh, this makes it so much better.